Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Alfia Patricia Putri. I'm from 7.1. So in this video, I will explain about narrative text. So narrative text is text that tells an imaginative stories or a real stories that are modified. As we know, there are many kinds of narrative text. So the first kind of narrative text is fairy tales. So fairy tales is the kind of narrative text that present a fantasy character. The example is like fairy, giant, goblin, and others. The second is science fiction. Science fiction is like a story that has a genre speculative fiction. Science fiction, it has concepts like science, technology, universe, and others. The third is mystery. It's a story that focuses on puzzling crime. The fourth is adventure stories. It is a stories that tells about some journeys of the character. The fifth is romance. Romances is tells about stories that focus on the relationship and love between two or more characters. The next is horror stories. It focuses to create a feeling of. The next is fable. Fable is a story that tell about animal that like human. The last is folklore. So the stories is told about people in a particular region. Folklore divided into three. The first is myth is a story that talk about myth. The second is legend. So the stories it tells about the origin of that place. The last or the third is folktale. So the stories it tells about the unreal imagination or like fantasy. So in the narrative text also has the generic structure. So the generic structure of the narrative text. The first of the generic structure of narrative text is orientation. Orientation is the opening of the story of the narrative text. So orientation is like the first part or the opening part for the narrative text story. The second is complication. Complication is the problems of that story that in narrative text story. Complication divided into three. First is rising action. This the problem is begin to arise. The second is climax. This is the peak of the problem. The third is falling action. Falling action is the last part of the problems. So it likes the story has want to be end. So this is like the solution of that problem. So the third is resolution. So this section is tell about the end of the story of the narrative text. The last of the generic structure of narrative text, or the fourth, is the orientation. So that is the last part of the narrative text story. It contains like the moral value of that story. The last generic structure of narrative text, that is the orientation, is optional for the narrative text story. So that's all my explanation about narrative text. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.